Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome back. This is the Mic Drop Show, and I'm your host, Mike Morawski, your multifamily bounce back coach. I'm here every week. I go live every Wednesday morning. So if you are new or you're a veteran to this show, welcome back. Welcome today. Here's where we're going to talk about real estate, investing, business, and life in general. Hey, sometimes I bring some amazing guests to the platform. Sometimes it's just me, just like today. So I have some really great questions today from listeners over the last couple of weeks. I thought it would be just really interesting just to get some of these questions answered. We have a couple of events coming up that I want to talk with you about and let you know about those as well. Now, if you're new here, I've been in business for over 30 years in the real estate space. You know, I've seen highs, I've seen lows, I've seen different political parties in office and everything in between. But my mission is simple here for you. It's to help investors at every stage avoid mistakes, grow smarter, and build freedom through their multifamily investing. Hey, today we're going to be tackling some tough questions. You know, I've seen pop up over the last couple of weeks, as I mentioned. But, you know, investors, and whether they're new or they're seasoned in the business, are always asking questions about how to, right? And how do we get involved? But, you know, there's some big things that people are really asking. So I hope you hang in there this morning and get to participate in some of these questions. You know, and if you want to go a little bit deeper, throw your question in the chat this morning. Send me a DM or an email, because it might be one of the questions that myself and a guest tackle on one of the upcoming shows. So let's dive right in, though. You know, I had somebody ask over the last week. You know, I'm brand new in the business. I'm just trying to get my feet wet in multifamily. What's the number one mistake first-time multifamily investors make? You know, and I had to read that question. I had to think about it, and I thought, you know, maybe I don't want to answer that. And the simple reason around that is that, you know, you've got to go and make some mistakes. You can't not get in the business, in the real estate investing business, whether you're doing land or wholesale or apartments or commercial, because you're fearful of it. You've got to walk through that fear and take and get involved and take action. You know, every step of the way, you're going to learn something else. And, you know, I've always been the kind of person that, you know what, when I want to do something, I'll just go do it, right? Regardless of education, regardless of, you know, fear around it. But honestly, you know, most people, I think, jump in too fast. I did, right? So I took a lot of action early on when I went in the multifamily business. I went out, we bought 4,000 apartments. It was about $60 million worth of apartments in 5 markets around the country. And I grew way too fast. And I think that some people who really are overzealous jump in and way too fast start to do the business. You know, they get excited, they overpay for property, they partner with the wrong people, you know, and trust me, I've done all that. And you know what? My advice is just slow down a little bit. Learn the basics, build your foundation first. You know, it's interesting to me. I have a coaching business, and you may or may not know that, but I teach people all the fundamentals, everything from mindset to how to pick a market, how to build a buying strategy, how to build relationships, how to underwrite, how to do the due diligence, how to close a deal, how to operate a deal. I teach all of that. But here's what I really like teaching is somebody who knows all that, but they need strategy help, and they need to scale their business. That's where people really grow, right? You get the education, and I don't know if you went to college or not. And, you know, I didn't. I'm not necessarily the biggest advocate to go to college. I think you should go get some financing education, you know, learn how to use Excel, learn how to build charts and graphs and financial efforts. But in most cases, take action, right? Get the education you need, go learn what you need to learn, and then just take action. If you overestimate what you can do in a year, but underestimate what you can do in a decade, I think that's detrimental to you. So now if you're just getting started and you want a clear breakdown though of what multifamily even is, I have my 2-day virtual summit coming up October 16th and 17th. And one of my guests, Trevor Thompson, who I've met several years ago and just absolutely love the way he does business today, is his session is October 16th. And this is going to be perfect for you. He's going to be covering what multifamily is and how to build it exactly for new investors. So if you're a brand new investor and you're looking to get into the business, go to multifamily 25, that's multifamily25.com, get registered for the upcoming summit, and make sure that you attend Trevor Thompson's session on the 16th. I'm going to have 20 speakers and panelists over a 2-day period that are going to help you learn everything like I talked about, from mindset to getting in the business to scaling your business. I'm going to have a panel on that, they have probably done $3 to $5 billion worth of multifamily transactions. So who wouldn't want to miss that, right? Hey, here's another question that I got this week. And I'm always fascinated by this because this is the same question I ask continually. But how do you raise capital if you don't have a big network? And, I'll tell you a quick story. So I first got in the multifamily business in 2005. I put my first 11-unit multifamily deal under contract. And then I realized after putting it under contract, how am I going to pay for this? How am I going to buy it? I knew I needed to get financing, but where was I going to come up with $200,000 to, as part of the down payment and some construction capital? And I said, wow, I need to go raise money. Now, I don't have a family and I didn't have a big network at the time, nor did I have a network that had any money to invest in any type of real estate investing. So I did some crazy things at the time. I put a little ad in the newspaper, just a classified ad, for $45. It ran for 5 days. And over the next 7 weeks, I raised about $800,000 from that little $45 ad. But all it said was real estate investors wanted and my phone number. My phone rang off the hook. And I taught, I did both things. I raised capital and taught people how to invest. So, it's funny, the little things that you can do. Everybody thinks that raising capital is you've got to have these big networks or you have to have hundreds of thousands of dollars yourself. And it's not true. You can do this business with none of your own money. You can do this business with, a limited network, with a small amount of people around you. You can do this business if you have, a bigger network. So, this comes up all the time is, the truth is you don't need a huge network. You need to trust and get started. You need to take action. Start with learning, be consistent, and you know what? Don't oversell. Don't oversell yourself. Don't oversell the deal. Be transparent. Transparency beats the hype every time. If you think you have another answer, I'd love to hear it. But here's something too. I want to circle back to the summit, right? On October 16th and 17th, I have my 2-day virtual event. I would get registered for this. Seats have been filling up fast. This is just the last couple of days of the early bird special as well. But Hunter Thompson is going to be teaching this year on capital raising. He's going to run a master class on October 17th. And, he's one of the best people in the game. I know myself, that's one of the speakers I'm going to zone into and really listen to. But when it comes to building investor relationships and his strategies, they work better than anybody else's I've seen or know of. So if you're looking to start small and scale big, definitely get to the summit, listen to Hunter Thompson and what he's going to talk about. Because as I mentioned, he is one of the best in the business when it comes to raising capital. I think that there's, the other thing that I want to say about raising capital too is there are a number of systems and strategies that you can employ. In my coaching program, several things that I do is I have a document library, and in that document library, we supply all the scripts you need. We supply all the social media content you need. We supply the formats and templates for webinars, for pitch decks, everything that you need. It's a turnkey system and gives you the ability to take that, white label it, and use it. We have lead magnets that we share with you, from ebooks to single white pages, papers that you can use in your social media, and building out your social media to attract potential investors. This is a relationship business, and the more people you attract into your ecosystem, the bigger that network is going to grow for you, because as you build your social media, people like you and love you, and they follow you. And that's exactly what I like to teach people. So, hey, and if you're new here, I'd love for you to like me, follow me, no matter what platform you're on, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Follow us, like this, send this episode to somebody who needs to hear it this morning. Another question I got, and I really love this one, because this comes from, not the active investor, right? This question comes from the passive investor, but I want more passive income. I want more cash flow. How do I manage properties without it becoming a second job? Well, here's what I want to say. First off, as a passive investor, creating more passive income for yourself, you're not managing those properties. You're entrusting in a powerful operator, a powerful owner operator that's running and managing those day-to-day activities, that's handling the tenants, the trash, and the toilets, where you're doing what you love to do. And maybe what you love to do is do operations on some other real estate stuff that is hands-on, which is great. I have a lot of investors in my ecosystem and in our properties that own and operate their own assets, but they invest passively as well. I have a lot of passive investors that invest that want to be in real estate, but they're really good at their day job and they want to keep their day job. Or we have those passive investors also that invest and want to grow their business, or grow their cash flow and grow their long-term wealth by investing more. And if you're somebody who wants to hear of someone who's done this really well, you want to be at the summit. And I'm going to go back to the summit every question here this morning, because we all tie back to somebody who's speaking at the summit. But Michael Guthrie is a passive investor in a number of multifamily and industrial deals and other asset classes around the country, and has created massive amounts of wealth for himself. So he's somebody that you'll want to come and listen to. He'll be part of a capital raising panel, and he'll be talking about scaling your business through passive investing. So if you're a passive investor looking for opportunities and places to place your money and learn from other successful sponsors, then that's a place to be. Let's jump on to the last question before we land the plane this morning. But how do you manage multifamily properties or real estate assets without it becoming a second job? And I want to tell you that it should be your first love, first of all. is I really believe that you want to have, real estate, and being involved in real estate is your first love. And they say that the more you love something, that the easier it becomes, and the money will flow to you. And I believe that that's really true. But when you have property management systems in place, when you have asset management systems in place, it makes it easier. Today, and I'll give you an example. Today, we have our asset management calls on a number of our properties that we own and operate. And we get on the phone with our property managers and our on-site staff, and we talk about everything from how much traffic's come in, how many showings have we had, how many applications do we take, what's the occupancy, how many applications get approved and converted to move-ins, how many move-outs coming up. There's a 15-point checklist that we go through. And matter of fact, if you would like a copy of that checklist, DM me and I'll send it to you. But it's our asset management checklist. It's what we go through on a weekly basis, talking to the property managers and our property management team about where we're at on the property. And we get into finances, occupancy, operations, repairs, more expensive repairs. So take a look at that. If that's something that would be beneficial to you and you think it would help you, reach out to me and I'll send you a copy of it. But let's talk about the summit real quick, right? October 16th and 17th, Ashley Wilson is going to be covering this in her asset management best practices session. That's on October 17th. And if you're worried about operations eating you alive, then show up and listen in on Ashley's conversation, because she's going to show you how to be in control without burning out, without it taking over your life. And I know for me that's going to be one of those sessions I'm going to dial into, because I know that those tips and techniques that she's going to talk about are really going to be beneficial for new as well as seasoned investors. So, hey, if you're a seasoned real estate investor and you own a bunch of real estate already, you know what? You can always get a little shot in the arm. You can always learn something new. Hey, I've been in the real estate space for over 30 years. I go to 6 to 8 conferences a year. I sit in the sessions. I listen to people. I do a lot of networking and build relationships. I also go to a lot of networking events to meet new investors. And these are some of the things that we teach in coaching and talk about in coaching. So, hey, look, if you're somebody who's anxious about getting into business and you know that the timing is right now because of where the market is going, you definitely want to get into business. Hey, let me just talk real quick about a couple of other speakers that are going to be on the summit this year. I'm going to have Brad Sumrock on. He's going to be talking this year. I'm going to have Bronson Hill on. Anybody who knows either one of those guys, definitely a place to be. I'm going to have Anna Jensen on, who's also going to be talking about asset management. We're going to have Forrest Corral on. I'm going to have a speaker on. And Forrest Corral is someone who's done, probably $2 billion in multifamily transactions over the last 20 years. So, if you want to learn from some really high performing people, then this is a place to be. Another thing I want to mention is mindset. I think a lot of people get burned out really easy in this business, and it's because of mindset. But I'm going to have a speaker on day one, October 16th, the opening session, Jay LaGuardia. And I had Jay on my podcast a few months ago, and I had met Jay through an event we were doing with a couple of my coaching clients. And I met Jay, and Jay had him on my podcast, and he talks about mindset. Boy, and he's got some things to share and say that will really help you stay in the game. So again, I'm just going to encourage you, jump out there, get a ticket. Early bird specials expiring this week. Go to multifamily25.com, get registered for the event, grab a VIP ticket. The night before the event, we're going to have a big VIP session, a meet and greet. It's all virtual, so you can do it from your office. You can check in, check out. If you're not there, you'll be able to get the recording from the event. So I look forward to seeing everybody there this year for sure. But that's it. That's a wrap for today. Again, another episode of the Mic Drop Show. Remember, we're here every Wednesday morning at 7:30 Pacific, 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern time. Tell somebody about the show. Run out there, like us, love us, subscribe to our platform. Remember, the summit's coming October 16th and 17th, all online. You're going to hear incredible speakers, like I said, Hunter Thompson, Forrest Corral, Michael Guthrie, Brad Sumrock, Bronson Hill, Anna Jensen, Ashley Wilson, and many, many more. So make sure you grab all the details. You can go to the website, multifamily25.com. Take a look at the agenda. Take a look at the schedule and the speaker bios if you're not familiar with any of those people. And before I go, I want to acknowledge our sponsors for the upcoming events. But Sync VA, helping real estate professionals streamline and scale your virtual assisted platform. I have a client who has 10 VAs that work for him. He runs his entire business with VAs. I know several other people that do that. If you're somebody who's trying to scale a business, if you're in the real estate investment business and you're closing deals, then you need a VA or a couple of VAs to help you build out your platform. Reach out to Sync VA, that's SYNCVA.com, and get some help scaling your business. And then another sponsor at our event this year is CSSI. They're the experts in the industry in cost segregation and tax savings. At CSSI, their services excel beyond anybody that I've ever worked with over 30 years in the business. If you're somebody who can use cost segregation in your investments and it's helpful, you're going to want to reach out to Kevin Cawley. Kevin will also be speaking at the summit this year. And then Resilience Equity. Hey, reimagine your financial future with real estate investing at Resilience Equity. Go to resilienceequity.com, take a look at their platform and see the opportunities that exist out there for you from a passive investing standpoint. So, hey, we're going to be live again next Wednesday morning. Bring your coffee. I have mine. I talked a little too much this morning. Didn't get to have any, but bring your questions. And listen, if you know somebody who might be a great guest for an interview on this show, on this platform, definitely drop their name in the chat. I'd love to hear about them. But I'm Mike Morawski, your multifamily bounce back coach. I'll look forward to seeing you next week. And more importantly, I'm going to look forward to seeing you at the summit coming up here October 16th and 7th. Remember that early bird special runs out the end of the week. So don't lose out.